What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff. I love to talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV shows. If it's geeky, if it's nerdy, I love to talk about it right here. And right now, I'm going to vent about Star Trek Lower Decks and really just the state of Star Trek right now. Which is kind of going to be hypocritical because I'm on record saying Discovery's okay. I don't love it. I don't love Discovery. It doesn't feel like Star Trek, but it's okay. But I really liked Star Trek Picard. I liked it a lot. But Star Trek Lower Decks, after 2 episodes now, I hate it. I hate it. Now, I'm going to keep watching it because it's Star Trek, and I'm into self-loathing punishment, apparently. But it's not good. It's not good. It doesn't... Here's my problem with Star Trek right now. Star Trek used to set the standard for science fiction storytelling. It used to set the standard. Yeah, there is always Star Wars, but Star Trek set the standard. And everything else tried to be Star Trek. In one regard or another, everything else aspired to be Star Trek. Star Trek is a standard chaser now. Star Trek is a fad chaser. It's chasing fads, is what it's doing. All right, so like Discovery tried to be all adult. You know, Star Trek for adults. And by doing that, it injects a bunch of stuff that Star Trek fans don't really care about. To some degree, Picard did that. We're going to be Star Trek for adults, so we're going to inject a whole bunch of stuff that Star Trek fans don't care. Star Trek fans don't care about a former Federation officer trying to deal with substance abuse. All right? Culturally, at this point, we should have already, according to the Next Generation, we should have already mostly evolved beyond substance abuse. Star Trek fans don't care about the F word being dropped. Because culturally, we are a people who has evolved beyond that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I just always had this picture in my mind in the Next Generation of humanity being this culture that has evolved beyond crap. This culture that's evolved beyond crappy stuff. Violence, language, substance abuse, discrimination, anything like that. We've evolved beyond that. But that's all Star Trek wants to be now. All that Star Trek wants to be now is violence, substance abuse, political hot topics. What's the big activist topic right now? We've got to make sure. And I know to some degree Star Trek has always been that, but they did it with a lot more tact and a lot more discretion back then. Now it's boom, in your face activism. I don't know. It's not Star Trek. And when I say something is not Star Trek, yeah, Discovery, a lot of Discovery is not Star Trek, but it's got those little sprinkles of Star Trek in it. Picard, I think, was more Star Trek than not, but it still had that stuff that Star Trek is chasing. Star Trek is chasing after the relevancy. When I talk about something not being Star Trek, when I talk about something chasing relevancy, I'm talking about Lower Decks. Lower Decks is Star Trek chasing, begging, desperate for relevancy. Desperate. Please, please watch us. We're trying so hard to be relevant. And it's killing them. Lower Decks is going to hurt Star Trek. It's going to hurt Star Trek. It's going to hurt fandom. It's bad. And, I mean, you've got somebody who's been a Star Trek fan for almost 40 years. And I never thought that I would see an animated Klingon drunk as crap, chasing alcohol, acting like a fool, acting like a child, acting like a 18-year-old that's tasted alcohol for the first time, or a 15-year-old that's tasted alcohol for the first time. I never thought that I'd see Star Trek go there. But that's where we're at now. That's where we're at. Potty jokes. That's where we're at with Star Trek now. It's not good. It's not funny. You know, pretending to be Rick and Morty or Ren and Stimpy, or trying to chase what DC was able to do with Harley Quinn. It's not good. You guys are failing miserably, Paramount. Failing miserably. This is bad. And it sucks. It sucks. Because Star Trek has so much opportunity. But it's like whoever is running Star Trek right now, is it Kurtzman? Whoever's running Star Trek right now has no idea what Star Trek really is. He's looking out into pop culture. He's looking out into what's working right now for other franchises, and he's saying Star Trek needs to do that. Star Trek needs to do that. Cobra Kai? Cobra Kai had F words. The original Karate Kid did it. Star Trek needs to do that. Alright? Cobra Kai stayed true to what the Karate Kid was. It didn't fundamentally change what the Karate Kid was. Yeah, it made it a little more adult, but it didn't fundamentally change what the Karate Kid was. Star Trek is changing Star Trek. And that's my issue. Guys, Lower Decks sucks. It sucks. I'm gonna sneeze. I'm allergic to Lower Decks, apparently. I have nothing but interest in an animated Star Trek. I believe that an animated Star Trek that's family friendly could do wonders for bringing in new Star Trek fans. And that's what I thought Lower Decks was going to be. I thought it was going to be family friendly animation that's going to bring in new Star Trek fans. This is not that. This isn't family friendly at all. And it's not going to bring in any new fans. It's going to lose fans. That's the problem with Star Trek. Star Trek literally has a dying fan base. Star Trek fans are getting older and they're dying, and they need to replace fans. But what they're doing right now is they're creating bad content that people don't like, so they're not getting any fans, and the ones that aren't dying are not watching anymore because it's so bad. Like I said, I like Picard. I believe that most hardcore Star Trek fans do not like Discovery. And, I don't know. I mean, I give Discovery like a solid C. It's okay. But it does not feel like Star Trek. So I understand the need for franchises to change over time, especially one that's been around for, what? It's been around for 60 years, especially one that's been around for 60 years. There's a need to change and adapt, but you also have to keep the heart of what that franchise is. It still has to continue to be that franchise, and Star Trek is not that anymore. Star Trek is not continuing to be Star Trek anymore. It's something else. It's something else with the Star Trek name slapped on it. And Lower Decks, and you know what, I was in denial of that for a while. I really was. I was like, okay, Discovery, they kind of went in a different direction. Picard felt mostly like Star Trek, and I contend that it does feel mostly like Star Trek. But now that I'm actually 2 episodes into Lower Decks, and I've actually digested it for what it is, it makes me look at Discovery in a different light, to be honest with you. Like, they do not understand Star Trek. The people who are running Star Trek right now do not understand Star Trek. And that makes me wonder, is that why they get so ticked off when somebody wants to make a fan film? Guys, I can't do a Star Trek reaction trailer because I get blocked out by Paramount every time. Even under fair use, I get blocked out every time. They are terrified of somebody else using Star Trek content. And now I'm convinced, that's because they know that what fans are going to put out is better than what they're going to put out. They know it because they don't understand it and they don't want to understand it. They want to slap the Star Trek label on something new and relevant and create something new and relevant, and it's not going to work. And it's awful. So, yeah, this is supposed to be a review on Lower Decks Episode 2. Drunken Klingon. It was bad. It was bad. As is, I believe, the state of Star Trek right now. It's just bad. They need to fix it. They need to fix it. But I don't think they have any interest in fixing it. And that's a sad thing. So, I don't know. I'm gonna stop my rant here. It's really upsetting. Somebody who's been a fan of Star Trek forever, guys. I watched Star Trek Insurrection last night. Star Trek Insurrection. Admittedly, one of the worst Star Trek movies. It's not the worst Star Trek movie, but it's one of the worst Star Trek movies. And Star Trek Insurrection is leaps and bounds better than anything they're putting out today. Leaps and bounds. Guys, Star Trek Nemesis is leaps and bounds better than anything they're doing today. Want to talk about Star Trek The Final Frontier? Star Trek The Final Frontier makes what they're doing today look like high school film school crap. Not from a technical special effects point of view, but from a storytelling point of view. Star Trek The Final Frontier, Star Trek Nemesis makes what they're doing today look like garbage. Period. Period. So, yeah, I don't know. Am I being too hard? Am I being too hard on Star Trek right now? Does anybody out there actually like Lower Decks? Like I said, I'm going to keep watching it. It's Star Trek, and I'm a glutton for punishment. So I'm going to keep watching it, and I'm going to keep talking about it. But I have a feeling that I know how these conversations are going to go, and they're not going to be good. But does anybody out there like it? Let me know in the comments down below if you think there's anything redeeming about Star Trek right now, specifically Lower Decks, but we can talk about Discovery or Picard. Because I do think there's some redeeming stuff about Discovery and Picard. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of Lower Decks, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you for being here at the LQ Review, where we get to talk about the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.